Yo guys, what's going on? It's Duel Unlocked here, and today we're going to be doing an Ultimate KC Cup guide. So we're going to go over all the decks on the tier list and some potential other decks as well. We're going to go over the deck's strengths and weaknesses, and how I think, what techs they can run and all sorts of that kind of stuff. So, the first deck we're going to be taking a look at is going to be Elemental Heroes, and we're going to go talk about all the strengths of the deck, and let's go and get right into it. And the weaknesses, of course. So, first off, I think the skill is the #1 strength of Draconic Contact. It is insane. You get a free poly every turn and recursion for Rainbow Dragon, Neos, or Armed Dragons, both the Armed Dragon Thunder, and both these Armed Dragons are crazy. Armed Dragon Thunder level 10 is a board wipe, or like a lightning vortex on the body, and you can get this as a recurrence. Armed Dragon Thunder level 10 is crazy because this card is very hard to out, can't be destroyed by battle, and it's just, with the free poly every turn, you get a pop every turn as well. 4,000 attack points as well when it gets its effect off, so pretty crazy as well. Another strength of the deck is going to be the insane draw power of the deck. That being with your Liquid Soldier as well as your Cross Keeper. So these are both, Cross Keeper allows you to draw 2 and then put 1 to the deck. Liquid allows you to draw 2 and discard 1. Liquid can work with Necro Garden as well. So if you have Liquid and Necro Garden in your deck, you can draw 2, discard 1, discard the Necro Garden, and then you have a free stop attack, which is really nice. The deck is super consistent with the new addition of E-Emergency Call in the main box. It is a bit expensive though, as it is a UR. The deck has ways to deal with back row, that being with Elemental Hero Stratos. Of course, the skill is insane as you get free Super Poly. So Super Poly can basically fuse off any cards of your opponent without interaction, so you can go into your Shining, Great Tornado, Nova Master, Escurito, and if you're in the mirror match, the Elemental Hero Core. The deck has no limit 3s or limit 2s, which allows you to run any sorts of techs from Compulse, Necro Gardener, Hollowed Life Barrier, things like that. So the survivability, it can be very well. Rainbow Life as well. Rainbow Life is going to be better versus birds. Hollowed Life Barrier is going to be better versus other decks. So you have to choose which one you want there as well. But yeah, free poly every turn is insane. Super poly, of course. And we didn't even mention, we have non-target removal of both the Armed Dragon Thunder level 10, non-target destruction. Rainbow Neos is an absolutely insane boss monster. It's my favorite card for a reason. Like, it's insane. You send one monster you control the grave, shuffle, non-target shuffle all your opponent's monsters into the deck. Send a spell and trap, non-target shuffle all the spell and traps. Send one card from top of the deck to the grave, and you can shuffle their entire graveyard into the deck. So that is a crazy card. Of course, another strength of the deck is the ability to run techs, because you're going to be drawing so much, so you can run things like Veiler, or Effect Veiler, DD Crow. You can run stuff like different Dimension Grounds versus Salamandreates. So basically whatever you need, you can run. DD Crow is going to be great versus birds. So there's that. There's also Effect Veiler, which you can use in the mirror match, and stuff like that. You do want to be careful when you Veiler, if your opponent has Super Poly, because they can just stop the Veiler, so do keep that in mind. So, what are the deck's main weaknesses? I think Droll and Lockbird actually is probably pretty decent versus heroes, so if you have space to run it, if they like search something off E-Emergency Call, you Droll them. That means that they can't add a card from the deck to the hand. That will stop both the Miracle Fusion, or like the Liquid, and Cross Keeper, so, and Stratos as well. So like, Droll can, if you can get a Droll at the right time, that's gonna be pretty nice. So they will have to be careful about that, and I don't think there's a way to interact with Droll and Lockbird, so In the mirror match, of course, Super Poly is going to be very good as you can fuse potentially up to 3 of your opponent's monsters into one core, so that's really great. Another weakness I would say would be things like Dark Hole going second would be really nice, and if somehow you have enough monsters on board, Needle Sealing has potential. Also, you could run Needle Sealing in Heroes if you want to take 1 Limit 3 out. Um, but of course, they can set the Armed Dragon if you're in the mirror match, which I don't know if that's the right play or not, so we'll see. Like, KC Cup's gonna like evolve and all sorts of things, so it's gonna be interesting to see what direction heroes go during the KC Cup. So yeah, I think those are the deck's main strengths and weaknesses. Of course, you could also run things like Ghost Spell, or not Ghost Spell, Ghost Mourner. I always call this Ghost Spell for some reason. It's Ghost Mourner. You could also go for like MST. I've seen some run Book of Moon. Cosmic Cyclone would be decent. Yeah, I've even seen some people run Book of Eclipse, so there's another one. You don't really see Crackdown too much, which makes sense, to be honest. So yeah, that is gonna be heroes, strengths, and weaknesses. I think the deck's gonna be doing pretty well during KC Cup. Now we're gonna go and talk about deck number 2. Deck number 2 is going to be Salaman Greats. So Salaman Greats, I think the main strength of the deck is its survivability, as well as its insane card advantage you have with the deck. As well, okay, so those are like some crazy strengths. Another strength is that you have, if you go second with the skill is an insane strength, by the way, you can go for Foul. And with Foul, you can basically just turn off all your opponent's back row. The deck never bricks is another strength, because any card is combo with the skill, which is absolutely insane, so you can run all sorts of things like that. Oh yeah, I guess one more weakness for heroes would be if they hit the Super Poly, then that could potentially be pretty bad, because Super Poly is a pretty big interaction, so if they like MST or Night Beam it, which I've seen some people running Night Beam, which I don't think it's probably the best idea, but it's there, so do keep that in mind. But yeah, so obviously the insane ability for... But yeah, so Salaman Greats, the skill is insane. Go in second, you get a free monster, which is Foul, which can turn off all your opponent's back row. The skill allows you to run so many different techs to be able to deal with all your opponent's or all your opponent's cards. So you can run Veiler, Mourner, Droll, Crow, and you can see like even more techs like Divine Wrath. I've seen Divine Wrath being used a lot recently as well, so that it is a counter trap, so it can be responded to. Droplet, you're gonna need Droplet, of course, to deal with birds. I think that's the main reason why they have that. Another strength of the deck is gonna be that it has potential to board wipe with the Pyro Phoenix on your opponent's turn. Board wiping on your opponent's turn is crazy, so if your opponent allows you to do that, that can go insane. This one is... They do also not have a limit 2 in the deck, but they do, so they can run Hollow Life Barrier or Rainbow Life. They can run Underworld Goddess, which most decks can't, so the fact that you can run Underworld Goddess with the deck is a free out to your opponent's, like, boss monster, so it's kind of crazy. Like, this card can out anything, so... And then this card's actually really hard to out by itself as well. Some of the weaknesses of the deck, I would say, would be that the deck... I think the first weakness is going to be the timer. The combos are going to be a lot longer. The duels are going to be longer, so like games might take longer with Salaman Greats. So you might not be able to climb as fast. But if you know what you're doing and you're a good pilot with the deck, then that won't matter as much. So you will be able to like just pick up more wins potentially with the deck. Of course, also Mirage Stallion being able to is another strength of the deck. It's it's not shuffle, but it's a add back to hand when it gets Xyz summon or Link summon. So it's kind of insane. This card is crazy because it can summon monsters from the deck as well. So you can summon Fennec, and then you can link those off. Get this deck has so much advantage. Like the advantage this deck can bring is insane. But yeah, another weakness of the deck. So weakness number 1 was the timer. Weakness number 2 is going to be Abyss Dweller. If your opponent has Abyss Dweller turn 1, and you're going turn 2, which not too many decks can run Abyss Dweller to be fair, so there is that. If you don't open Droplet, your turn's going to be significantly weaker, so do keep that in mind. And then they have Salmon Great Circle limit 3, so they will not be able to run limit 3 traps, or they can run like one limit 3 trap potentially, but most likely they're going to be running multiple circles, so that will take up a lot of those spots. Are there anything else? Different Dimension Ground is another one that would be a pretty big, I guess. Yeah, different or Dimension Ground. I can't spell, apparently. Dimension Ground, where are you at? There's too many dimensions. There we go, different dimension grounds. So the turn, if your opponent's on heroes and they play this going first, they draw into this. This turn any monster sent to the graveyard is banished instead. This card is pretty brutal versus Salaman Greats because you do not want to get all your cards banished for sure. So do keep that in mind too. And then I mean not as bad, but oh goodness, you do have Necro Valley. Is it like just one word, maybe? Yeah, I guess it's just one word. But yeah, Necro Valley can also hurt, but they could run Crosswipe. Southern Greats run Crosswipe, so Necro Valley won't be as bad as Different Dimension Ground, which is why I think more people will go the Different Dimension Ground route. So that is going to be the top 2 decks of the KC Cup, most likely. Now let's go and get into some of the other decks that are on the tier list. So, coming in, brand new on the tier list recently is Crystal Beast. Now, Crystal Beast, I think the main advantage for them is that most people will not know what the deck does. It's going to be a lot harder for people to know the choke points unless they see the deck a lot, which the deck doesn't see as much play. Here is a list by Giorfio. He's running the Striker engine. You can see No Limits is another strength of the deck. Ability to run multiple cards. Getting Dweller. Dweller is a big strength if they can run that. The deck also has non-target removal with the Ultimate Crystal Beast Rainbow Dragon and insane OTK potential, as you can see here. So I think the deck actually has a decent Salad matchup as another strength. I'm not sure about the hero matchup. And another weakness potentially could be Droll. And if your opponent knows the correct choke points, which most people won't, I'm not exactly sure the correct choke points either, then Crystal Beast definitely can do some damage. I think this KC Cup, I can definitely see this deck getting some tops. So yeah, I'm not too sure about the strengths and weaknesses of Crystal Beast, but I do think it's a deck to look out for. Here's the second place list. MST, Golden Roll. Underworld Goddess potentially has ability to run that as well. Pretty nice. So yeah, let's go and go into some other decks. Crystal Beast, definitely a deck to look out for this KC Cup. Lyrilisc. So, Lyrilisc has been limited, so they do have no access to limit 3s, or limit 2s, or limit 1s, so it is all engine basically with the deck, so that is going to be a little bit of a weakness. No limit 3s, 2s, or 1s. A strength of the deck, of course, is going to be Nightingale. Nightingale is an insane boss monster, very hard to out. You'll need to have either Droplets or Super Poly, or Hydra, or something along those lines to deal with it. But if you do it, you can respond with it in the draw phase, and if they If you use the effect in the draw phase, the only out at that point is going to be Droplet. The deck can play through Hollowed Life Barrier, so unless your opponent is playing a Rainbow Life, you can still OTK through Hollowed Life Barrier through the Recital Starling effect. Your Cobalt Sparrow will make your monsters untargetable, which is a huge strength. Searchable DD Curl, of course, is another huge strength. And, I mean, you know, Nightingale, Direct Attack, Lethal, not having to go through monsters is another strength as well. And Ensemble Blue Robin is also a pretty big strength. If they can set this up going turn 1, your opponent's going to have to deal with it, because it's going to just keep bouncing back monsters over and over again. As well as a lot of back row removal through the Pro-Made Thrush, another strength, so it has ways to deal with back row. Will the deck do well this KC? I think only time will tell. You can see it's still doing pretty well in tournaments here. So I would probably say it's gonna get a few tops, at least. Probably a decent amount, to be honest, so Leerless, another deck to look out for. Leerless Tri-Brigade, on the other hand. So what does this deck have that Leerless, pure Leerless doesn't have? I think the deck has, obviously, it has the Tri-Brigade stuff. It probably has a better turn 1, as you can end on like stuff like Ensemble Nightingale plus other stuff. Maybe end on like double Dragon Lords as well for like bouncing back. You do have the Tri-Brigade stuff, so you have non-target banish with Shurag. How do you say this guy's name? I probably should know it, but I've never really played Tri-Brigade, so... this card is probably one of the bigger strengths. This deck probably has a chance to brick more, but maybe not. I don't, with the skill, I'm not exactly sure how. So yeah, there's that. Revolt's another card, of course. Let's take a look at Duan. Duan's been doing pretty well with the deck. See, of course, it still has the searchable DD Crow, so it's gonna have a lot of the same things that the pure Leerless has. I don't think it's gonna do as well as a regular Tri-Brigade, or not regular Tri-Brigade, but regular Leerless. It will do better than regular Tri-Brigade. I think the deck's engines work well together, but I don't know how much the Tri-Brigade stuff is gonna help. But yeah, I mean, Revolt and Shurag are definitely probably the main strengths of the deck. Weaknesses could be higher chancing of bricking without running 2 different engines, I would say. Another strength is that if you end on the Earth, people aren't going to be running the Earth hero, so that means you won't be able to get Super Poly in the hero matchup, which could be pretty big. And of course, Assembled Nightingale is going to be another strength of the deck, because that card's insane. So there you go, there's Leerless Tri-Brigade. I think not going to be doing as well as Leerless, but I could see it doing well either way. Now we're going to go and get into the Predaplants. So Predaplants, honestly, they haven't been doing as well recently. I've even heard some people like say the deck might not perform too great this KC Cup, so we're gonna have to take a look and see. Obviously, the skill's insane, huge strength for the deck. So yeah, I mean, you get insane advantage with the skill. Reveal 2 cards that are Predap or Polarization, and then add a Polarization from outside your deck, and a Predaplant card from your deck or graveyard to your hand. If only your opponent controls a monster, you can get a free Hydra. Hydra's gonna be pretty nice. It's a way to deal with your opponent's boss monsters, going second. It has the ability to run a lot of different techs, with like Effect Veiler, DD Crow, Droll, you see Droll here as well. You have potential to not get OTK'd with your hand trap of Saracenian. Survivability is really great as another strength. You do not have any limit 3, so you can run things like Mind Control and send them off with your own effects, which is really nice actually, so Mind Control is pretty good. Fusion Sub. You also have the potential to run the Ensemble Blue Robin, another strength, and then the Bipless and the Saracenian ability to get more cards is also pretty good. Another thing is that they do have a way to search for Dio's Fusion, so they can use the Cobra. Cobra effect can get them access to Neos Fusion and potentially Rainbow Neos. I don't know how well that's going to be. They don't have Limit 2, so they can run Kite Road, it looks like. So that's going to be pretty interesting to see if they do that. So yeah, Predator Plants are going to be an interesting deck. Will they perform as well? I don't think they're going to be performing as well this KC Cup, but they might still get a top or a few tops. We'll have to wait and find out. Now it's on to some of the other decks that are not on the tier list. I guess there's one more deck left on the tier list right now, and that is going to be Battling Boxers. Battling Boxers are in high potential. Do I think they're gonna go crazy this KC Cup? I don't really think so. I think the skill needed to be a little bit better. It is still pretty crazy, but not as crazy as Star Sara's, in my opinion. So they do have survivability with both Battling Boxer Veil and, of course, Battling Boxer Second Chief. They have potential to run some techs. Xyz Import's interesting, but I don't think the deck's going to be doing too well this KC, to be honest. But it does have chance to bring out a lot of monsters, counter traps as well. Flameville counter, not bad. Promoter's probably the main strength of the deck, being able to summon out all your Battling Boxers, and your skills is going to be decent. But once again, I don't think it's going to go insane. So I probably wouldn't try and bring it to the KC Cup. Could be wrong. We'll have to see if anyone maxes, or not maxes, if anyone top hundreds with Battling Boxers, so... I mean, another strength of the deck could be your opponent doesn't know how to play versus the deck, so there is also that. And now we're gonna go and get into Dragon Maze. Dragon Maze was tier 3 for quite a bit. Let's go and talk about the deck's strengths and weaknesses. The deck's strengths, no limit 3s. The skill is pretty good going second. You get the free trap. Going first, you can send any of the Dragon Maids to the grave, so you can send either Chamber to grab another Dragon Maid. Pretty nice. You can do that going first or second. The deck has some pretty good grind game. Xiao's a negate, so of course, at Omni negate, that's pretty strong. Unfortunately, a weakness is that you are locked into just running Dragon Maids, basically only special summoning Dragon Maids. So there is that, of course. Yeah, Underworld. You can run Underworld Goddess of Family, so there. Yeah, I think the deck's main strength is the ability to have a good grind game, but the problem is, can the deck survive through the grind, or like long enough to have that good grind game through the decks like Salaman, Greats, and Heroes exist? I think that's going to be the hard part. And I don't know if this deck is going to top either. I could see maybe like a few tops potentially, but not many. Not many. Like, I don't think it's going to do too insane. I think if you're a very good pilot, you have a chance to top a Dragon Maid, if you know all the combos and stuff. But I don't think Dragon Maids will do insane this KC Cup. One more deck we got to talk about is going to be... what was the last deck? Oh no, there was one more deck I want to talk about. Oh, Shaddolls. I actually think Shaddolls have a decent, about as good a chance as Dragon Maids. I think they can. I think I could see. I think Shaddolls will top. I don't know like how many tops, but people have a way to. Wind is a crazy card. It can stop. Obviously, it can stop Styleman Greats if you go first. They have to have droplets, otherwise they're kind of without luck. So I think it has a pretty decent Styleman Great matchup. If it goes second, it's a little bit of a different story. But if you go, it also has ability to get a Omni Negate as well with Invoked Mechaba and Magical Meltdown. The strengths of the deck is Shaddoll Fusion is a pretty crazy card, which can take advantage when your opponent has an extra deck monster. A weakness of the deck has potential to be Bricky every once in a while, which is not going to be great when you get a handful of Shaddoll monsters with no fusions and no invoke. It has different directions that can go, with both being the Alistair variant and the Pure variant. Which one might be stronger than the other? It has the potential to run Damage Juggler or Effect Veiler for their light of choice, or some other, even like Trick Clown potentially too. Schism's a pretty crazy card. Winda is insane. Construct's insane. So yeah, Shaddolls, I might be a sneaky deck that gets like a top or two. I would not be surprised. So look out for that. I think that is all the decks. Stars, Seraphs, I guess we can go over, because they did pretty well, but I think Star Seraphs are a bit outclassed at the moment, unfortunately. The deck just isn't as good as it used to be. It's getting a little power crept with Salamangreat's heroes and all the others. One of the main reasons why is because Salamangreat's can just deal with the Utopia pretty easily if they're versus Utopia, because they can use their Salamangreat of Fire in the grave to stop the attack, and then the Leo Utopia Ray that would have been an OTK isn't quite as good, so there is that. Of course, the deck's main strength is the ability to run tech, so it can run things like Different Dimension Ground pretty easily to deal with it. But I think Super Poly, Heroes are too strong for Seraphs to be good. Because Super Poly is an insane way to just deal with any monster that they have. Oh yeah, there is one more deck. There is one more deck for sure. This deck I think will get tops. I almost forgot about this one, guys. But this one, Floor, is this not on the tier list, by the way? I think Floor Infernoble especially is gonna be doing very well. Getting at least a few tops this KC. This deck, like, the floor skill is an insane strength of the deck. Like, I think people still underestimate how crazy the floor skill is. Like, just reading it, this is like where all the skills started to be super OP. But yeah, this deck is insane. You have, like, huge advantages of being able to get into, like, Mistworm pretty easily, going second to deal with your opponent's targeted 3 cards your opponent controls, return those cards to the hand. You have access to Dingirsu non-target removal. You can go Ensemble Robin turn 1. Of course, Gearfried being a monster negates also very strong. Saj is also non-target removal. And then, of course, Renaud, ability to be able to play the Battling Box or hand trap, so you have survivability. And then, of course, you also have access to Power Tool Braver Dragon, another insane card, so that can get you... The boards you can end on are crazy. And Roland, of course, as well. So yeah, this deck, I would say the main weakness is it is susceptible to Super Poly. Hydra as well. Have turn 1, so they will be able to out and boss monster easily. But I think the deck can still do pretty well as well, though. So I would expect this deck to top. I think it could come back to the tier list as well. Oh, I mean, honestly, I think it might be stronger than Lyric Brigade. I don't know if that's a crazy take, but yeah, so I think that's every deck now, guys. So hope you guys enjoyed. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Till then, peace out.